Good evening. Good evening. Man, I know it may be late for some, and some of us are watching the news, the lake shore, whatever. Uh, However, at whatever time you get this or wherever you are, I just want to say thank you. Thank you for checking it out. And those that are going to get it on replay, by all means, please take a moment and type in. I watched the replay. Excuse me. I watched the replay. And those that are going to tune in live now, go ahead and let me know that you're with me live. Go ahead and get locked in, run it over your feed, however we can do it. Thank God for you on tonight. Those that are actually logging in now, I'll give you a few minutes. I won't be very long tonight, but I do just want to say, man, it's been a great day. Getting readjusted to work. Just came from a great service, man. Bishop Nichols from out of Fort Worth area preached a powerful message tonight. I was able to sit and listen to him. He blessed me. Just had a great time in communion and in fellowship with other pastors here in the city, and I thank God for Bishop Shaw over at Rivers of Living Waters for inviting us and having us out there on tonight. But I want to talk about something on tonight, real brief. Question that I posed to my leaders earlier, and I want to say that, man, it made me think a lot about some things and revisit some things in my life and look at some things in the way that I see things and what people are doing. For those that don't know, I am an educator, and I do read quite a bit. I'm in another phenomenal reading now that's out by Stantal Steve Bowler. And man, it's an excellent leadership book that I'm reading. I shared it on my feed the other day, a book that I'm reading. It's powerful. And often when I read these things and I get certain things that I see, I'm able to immediately run them back into scripture. The scripture comes to me to be able to facilitate what I read in some of these secular writings. And tonight, as I was reading last night and tonight, something really stood out to me in the writings of Stantal Steve Bowler. I give him all the credit for for those two words for this, for what I'm getting on tonight, that is allowing me to share with you guys. Please forgive me on the what's in my eye, but anyway, I mean it was beautiful, it was powerful, and he gave me two words on tonight when I read it on yesterday and this evening, and as he was writing in it, he talked about, are we just complying or are we committed? And he talked about leaders being that do things just out of compliance as opposed to being committed to what you do. So as he was talking about that in the educational sector, it immediately began to resonate with me in my spirit and say, you know what, that's a great question to ask. Many of us that are in leadership positions within ministry, are we just complying or are we committed? Now, a lot of times I come up with things and I give them to you. But now I have to get up, brother, the credit because he put that into my thinking on when I read this yesterday and today. Are we just complying with what we're being asked to do for the Lord, or are we committed? Are we just complying with certain things in our lives, such as diet? Are we just complying with people just because we like them? Or are we complying with them because we just want to grant them a wish or a command? Uh, or are we committed? Are we loyal to the things that we get involved with? I can talk about this from a number of ways, but what I really want to talk about it on tonight, as my leaders were writing back in through our precious app that we use, is that I asked them to contrast uh, comply and commitment. And they gave me some good answers. They were able to do so for the most part for the ones that did respond. But then when I really thought about it, I laid back and I said, you know what? What are we really doing now? Are they just doing it out of friendship, or are they just doing what they're doing? You got to ask yourself, people that do things with you, are they doing it? Are they complying with you just to be doing it to keep you quiet? Think about in relationships. We got to ask ourselves, are our spouses just complying with us just to be compliant because they feel obligated? Compliance is something that's done out of obligation. But here's the catch when we get to obligation. Y'all got to catch this right here. When people begin to only just comply with you because they like you or because they're just tolerating you, there are going to be two things that are always going to pop up. Number one, people that comply easily become complacent in where they are in their life and in what they're doing. They're complying, but there's really no driving goal in what's going on. They comply because they like you, or you guys have something going on that you like, and not only that, compliance is only for a season. Compliance is only for a season because when you get into compliance, compliance means that you're complacent and that you're also going to get to a place of complaining before long. That's the difference. Don't just comply with your goal or comply with a thought or comply just to do something, just to make somebody happy. We got to learn how to be committed to what we're doing. So many times we get into jobs, and listen to me closely, all of us that are in supervisor positions, whether we're in ministry on a secular job, people work a job and they will comply with you just because they want to be there to fill a role. They're granting a wish or trying to grant a command or do something that they're just being asked to do. But if we really jump into it, we need to have a level of commitment. We need to have a level of commitment in everything that we do. We need to learn how to be committed in relationships. Divorce is so high because people just comply just to get along within the marriage. Where is the commitment? People comply on the job just to get a paycheck. Where's the commitment to the client? Where's the commitment to the company? There is no commitment. It's just simply compliance. Then you have to ask yourself now, why do people find themselves in such an unhappy state? It's because they are only complying. People that are committed to something don't allow for unhappiness to creep in and cause them to fall in a place where they lose their drive, where they lose their desire, where they lose their fight, where they lose their commitment, where they end up stop being committed to the cause and find a way to complain or to often work against what's being put out. See, compliance only lasts for a while. And compliance only lasts for a while because people would just only comply just to keep you happy. But look around in your business, in your life, in your relationships, with those that you work with in ministry and on the job, sports officiating. Some people just comply with making meetings, but they're really not committed to the game. They comply because they like the money. When I was a sports officiating, when I was doing sports officiating before I retired, I ran a business that was very successful. We were operating in two states. I often found people that complied with what I asked them to do just simply because there was cash money involved, or there was easy money or good money involved in what they were doing. They were not committed to the game. They were not committed to the kids. They were not committing to being better. They were only complying because they wanted the money. Here's a question. Are you complying with the things of God, or are you just complying with your pastor? Are you just complying with your local church? Are you just complying and playing and going through the motions, or are you committed? I know somebody going to come back and say, well, I'm committed to God, not to man. But you still have to understand that wherever there's a leader, you must be committed to the vision. And if you're not committed to the vision, then you're not committed to the person. If the person is led by God, if your pastor is led by God, called by God, he has a vision. You ought to be committed to the same vision that your pastor is committed to. I'm not talking about my church. We don't have this problem in New Life. New Life, don't take this person. Don't nobody get mad, click off, say, you're talking about me. No, I'm not talking about New Life. We don't have this problem. I am speaking in general, that not only in churches, but in jobs, but wherever. Where is the commitment today? When are we going to stop complying and get back to committing? When are we going to stop just complying in relationships just to make our partner happy? When are we going to become committed to the relationship? When are we going to get back to being committed to being married? When are we going to get back to being committed to great customer service? One thing that really works me over real good is when I go into a restaurant, a fast food restaurant, and the person on the register don't even say good evening, good morning, good afternoon. How can I help you? Welcome to wherever. How can I help you? You basically have to speak to them sometime. And then we wonder why we're not excelling or succeeding, excelling in what we're doing because we're only complying and we're not committed. When I asked my leaders to look at 1 Samuel chapter 15, around the 22nd verse, I asked them to look at that and just ponder it for a moment. Think about it. When Saul went into battle, God gave Saul a complete mission to go in, destroy, bring nothing back. Saul complied. Then you have to ask, but was he committed to the entire mission? Was he committed to the vision that God gave? God said, bring nothing back. And yet Saul allowed for his men to bring back the goats, the best of the goats, and some of the spoils from over there. And he justified why he brought it back. Was he in compliance to just going to do the mission, the easy part, to kill, to go over and win the war? Or was he committed to the promises and to the things that was going to be at the end once he did and stayed committed to the instructions of God? A lot of times we're not committed to the instructions and to the vision because we don't see the vision in the way that it is. Don't just comply, commit. Don't just go through the motions, stay with it. Don't just say, I'll do it because that's my boy, I'm going to help my boy. Be committed if you're going to help. Don't just say, I'm going to do it just because that's my good girlfriend. Be committed to her. Be committed to help her to exceed, to succeed, and to excel. And as you're committed to helping someone else to succeed and to excel, God would then in turn turn around and bless you in your excelling and help you to succeed to where you want to go because you've shown that you can do right and be a good manager or to be there to help someone else. In other words, you showed humility that you can work to help someone else excel. You know, in the job market and in the job field today, first line supervisors really have to be careful because some of the very people that are complying with you are not really committed to you and to your vision. But I want to encourage you that as long as you have God or you have the promises of God that and you've allowed for God to place you in the position that you're in, non-compliance will not stop your success. I say again, non-compliance of others will not stop your success if you are committed to the things, to the promises, to the ways of God. Hey, I want to ask you, are you committed? Are you committed to your local church? Are you committed to your pastor? Are you committed to your first line supervisor? Are you committed to the company that you work for? Are you just complying so that you can get what you need and move on to the next stop? I believe that once we begin to show commitment back into our local communities, the streets will become safer. We just comply. We don't commit. I believe that once we begin to commit to a godly life, that the lost will make their way back to the church because we'll be committed and we won't just be complying just to check off the block, to say I did it, to say I'm gone, or say I went. Be committed. Be committed to do whatever it is that you've been called to do. Don't let anyone else stop you. Don't let someone else's distractions or dissatisfaction cause you to stop being committed to what you are committed to. We all have a level of commitment in something in our lives. And at the end of the day, if we're not committed to anything, we would never achieve anything. Don't comply. Don't just comply, but commit. I'll run this by you again. When we are only in compliance, we find it easy to become complacent in where we are because we're just complying and going through the motions. Also, when you're only just complying, you find a way to not only become complacent, but you find a way to find yourself into constant complaining about the visionary or the vision or the way that things are going. But when you become committed, it's a demonstration of commonality. When you become committed, it shows that you're dedicated and you're loyal to the cause and to the vision. And if it's a vision given by God, then you're supporting the things of God and the vision of God and by the man of God. Commitment has no room for jealousy. Compliance, when people comply, there's always room for complacency, complaining, which opens the door to jealousy and to those that are going to just discontinue their service. So, as I leave you on tonight, I've kept you enough. 16 minutes. I could go a little longer on this, but man, I give a shout out to my man Steve Bowler. He really touched me with that in his writings, and it took me into First Samuel chapter 15. If Samuel, I mean, if Saul had just only had been committed and not only just compliant, he had half of it right. He complied, but he didn't commit to the entire mission. Are you going to commit to the entire mission? Or are you going to comply and do a half a job and do half the mission? Be in compliance with God, but also be committed to complete the entire mission. Don't do it halfway. And be careful to remember that if you're in compliance only, it leaves place for complacency and complaints. But when you have compliance and commitment, you have something in common. Not only that, you're dedicated and you're loyal and you're all in for completing the mission at hand that's been given by the visionary that is leading the team. Be a team player so that the team can achieve. And remember, there is no I in team. Keep God first in everything that you do. Keep Him on top. If God stay on top, you keep God on top, nothing can go wrong for you. Keep God on top. Never forget who's in charge. Never forget who gave you the vision. Because we serve such a God that created us in such a unique way. He gave us his creativity. We can create things as well. Be committed to the creativity and to the visions that have been given to you by God. Hey, I just want to say good evening. Again, I know it's about 10 o'clock here in Texas and 11 on the East Coast, and it's actually about 7:15 in California and various parts of the world. It's the next day, uh, 8 hours ahead in Germany, and next day in some other places. But whomever get this and whenever you get this, I want you to remember one thing: don't just comply, but be committed to everything that you do. I want to say this to your children before I leave: be committed. Tell your youth, tell your children, as the school year start back, be committed to being great. Be committed, yeah, to being great. Be committed to embracing who you are. Be committed to striving. Be committed to giving it all you got. Be resilient. Turn all that negative energy, all that negative talk into positive fuel and charge yourself. Stay charged up. Negativity no one wants, but let it be your charging station. Give me all the negativity you want. It's going to charge me, push me, make me go stronger, make me work harder, make me want more. So this is my weekly, and I want you to understand something. I just don't do it on a timeline where I have a regular scheduled time that I come on. I come on when I'm prompted, and I speak out of obedience and not out of just regulation or just out of a scheduled time. So whomever get this, whenever you get this, at whatever time you get this, and I know a lot of you are up just scrolling TikTok, going through your feed or whatever, but somebody need to hear this on tonight. It's time to get committed and stop just complying, but be committed, be dedicated, be loyal, and watch out and don't fall into complacency and complaining through compliance. New Life, I love you. Propelling Life, I love you. I got the greatest congregation on earth. I can argue there with every pastor about theirs. We don't have these issues. But somebody need to hear this on tonight. That it's time to get committed and move from only just complying. God bless you. God keep you. You see the QR code up top, and hit it up. You're in need of someone to help you. You're looking for a good Christian coach, someone to discuss blended family, um, spirituality, whatever it may be. Go to my website, NLCFC Propelling. I'm sorry, www.propellinglife.com. That's two L's, three I's, propellinglife.com. QR code in the top. Hit it up. I was giving you my other website, but right now I'm on Propelling Life. And hit us up. We're here. Those on the various feeds, hey, you're on the New Life feed. God bless you. We thank you. You're on the Covenant Connection feed. God bless you. We thank you. You on the X feed. God bless you. Thank you. Propelling Life feed. God bless you. Thank you. We thank you all for watching wherever you're watching from. And by all means, stay committed. Be committed. Be dedicated. And remember, don't just comply, but always be committed and go through the full plan that God has for you in your life. God bless you. God keep you. I'm out. Have a great evening.